Overthrow. Now, let's quickly take a look at the first topic for discussion, where the presidency has alleged a plot by some opponents to convene an illegal national conference where a vote of no confidence will be passed on President Muhammadu Buhari with a view to overthrowing his government. A statement issued by Femi Adesina, Special Advisor to the President of Media and Publicity, on Tuesday noted that a warning followed an alert that emanated from the Department of State Services, DSS. The presidency accused unnamed religious leaders and past political leaders of planning to wreak havoc on the nation's sovereignty and to corporate existence of the country. It said working with foreign elements, the disgruntled elements are trying to achieve what they could not achieve during the last election, and warned them that their action will be treasonable. Okay, so let me start with you, sir. First of all, what do you think of that statement?
Well, you see, the president, like every president in any country, he has all the powers. He has under his control all the security apparatus, including the intelligence section. We don't know the information his intelligence agencies would have passed on to him, like the DSS, the Directorate of Military Intelligence, the police, etc., etc. But all the same, you see, it is on public domain, in the public domain, that a prominent Nigerian lawyer and the senior advocate of Nigeria is proposing to hold or to host a conference that will discuss Nigerian problems, particularly the insecurity that is worrying this country today. So we don't know the information Mr. President might be having at his disposal. But having said that, I do not know how a gathering of intellectuals, traditional rulers, like we read from the press, and other interested parties could amount to a plan to overthrow the existing government. But be that as it may, I think this will also sound a warning to the government that people are uncomfortable, people are not happy with the security situation in the country. And this will be an opportunity, in my humble opinion, for the government to up its game security-wise. Because there are a number of things the government could have done which in the opinion of many people, they are yet to do. The insecurity is growing from bad to worse on a daily basis. The security agencies have been overwhelmed. When I say security agencies, I mean the military and the police, the army, the navy, the air force, and the police. So I did say on another platform that the government should establish or introduce into this country a middle force between the military and the police that will be specially trained and given the assignment to handle mandatory kidnapping.
But we have that already.
No,
we have special forces.
We don't have special
like the Operation Lafia Dole.
No, the Operation Lafia Dole are soldiers. They are military.
Okay.
Yes, I'm talking about an independent middle force that will exist between the military and the police. For instance, in the United States, apart from the armed forces, that is the Army, Navy, Air Force, you have the Marine, the U.S. Marines, you have the Coast Guard, you have the Space Force.
So many other corporate operators.
We are not having enough. I think the government is yet to tackle this issue of insecurity appropriately.
It is strange, you know, especially with the fact that, I mean, the past military ruler that we have in government.
Yes, military ruler, I don't know. Things change. Things are changing. So if we have this middle force that will be solely responsible for banditry and kidnapping, leave the army to do its constitutional duty as provided for in section 217 of the Constitution. If you go to section 217 of the Constitution, the functions of the army are well stated there. They are to protect the territorial integrity of Nigeria. They are to protect Nigeria on the land, sea, and air, and to do any other thing to help internal security when requested to do so.
Which means the internal security is not their primary.
It's not their primary preoccupation. Not their primary preoccupation. So when we create that force that will be solely responsible for banditry and kidnapping, then the military will have enough time to face their constitutional duties as provided for in section 217 of the Constitution. They will be given special training, they will be given a special funding that will enable them to tackle this particular type of issue.
Okay. Barrister, but I saw you scribbling, so let's have your thoughts.
I don't want to repeat the points that Alexi has made. So a number of things. So one is, there is nothing wrong in any group of people hosting or holding any conference. The constitutional rights, what we call it freedom of association. People can come together and meet. However, there's also the provision that if there is the likelihood of a crime to be committed, then the security forces can step in that way. So, like rightly said, we don't know what intelligence report they have gathered as to what the exact content would be. But in as much as, well, I don't see how a meeting alone will constitute any security threat, except if there will be actions flowing from that. At times, when probably after the meeting, everybody now goes to the street and begins to do things, then fine. But if just a meeting alone among intellectuals, I personally don't see how that is something against Section 1 of the Constitution that says that no, that no change of government can occur unless as stated in the Constitution. So I personally don't see any reason why that is. But however, based on the Secretariat report, they may have reasons to believe that flowing from that meeting, issues could occur, and that's just that. But much more than that is that the bigger problem, which my colleague said, is problem of insecurity, and that is one thing that should be tackled. One other option that I've been looking at is that how to bring back that synergy or that collaboration between the private individuals and security forces. Because, like we noted, currently there's a lot of, they are currently overwhelmed. The police, and with some of the things that happen, the NSAS and all, that cooperation is not there, as it were. And so a way to bring back that renewed cooperation with security forces, so that intelligence is everywhere. Like people on the street, you see someone, you see something, you know who to talk to, so that it can be nipped in the bud before it becomes something big. So how to bring back that cooperation and that synergy and that trust that the people have for security operatives is one thing we should work towards, and then see how everyone can be each other's eye to ensure that everywhere is protected, and then we can move on as a nation.
Okay, let's go to Victoria Island, where Barrister Kingsley Chime is on ground. Now, what everybody seems to talk about here is intelligence report as to where the president got the plan to where some Nigerians are trying to plan against the government. But the big question is, how do these intelligence personnel get to know this? But yet it is difficult for them to know people behind these insurgents, for them to go after them.
Thank you so much, Solomon, for having me, and good afternoon to the guests at the studio and to whoever is watching us across the globe. I apologize for coming on board quite late. Going to the point, I think the allegation of a plot to overthrow government of Nigeria, as far as I'm concerned, lies within the realm of speculation or allegation, as it were. If the president or those within the corridors of power feels that there is an attempt by individuals or group of individuals to overthrow this government, I think the appropriate steps should be taken to quell such activities. But I believe, and I sincerely hope, that this allegation of being attempt to overthrow government is not self-inflicted. Because if you look at the activities, the current happenings in the country, the security challenges almost across Nigeria, one does not need a soothsayer to tell you that all is not well with Nigeria. We are at the edge of, we are sitting on a time bomb, and anybody can speculate that government, that some people are plotting to remove the government. I don't think it is lie within me to be able to ascertain the propriety or otherwise of that allegation. But I believe that what is happening currently in our country is self-inflicted by this government. They have actually noticed a lot of activities, the criminal activities going on almost simultaneously in all places across Nigeria. And they have come forward to cry foul. For me, I think they are crying foul. They are trying to hold on to something in order to insist that what is happening is not self-inflicted. If the security system in this country is well addressed, I don't think there should be any reason for anyone to allege or believe that someone is trying to overthrow this government. For whatever it is worth, rightly or wrongly, if the security forces, the SSS or the DSS, has the reason to believe, they should do the proper thing. But I think it is not unconnected with the criminalities going on across the country, which is as a result of failure of governance, failure of leadership, failure of people who swore an oath to protect its citizens, failure of the constitutional oath they have taken to protect Nigerian citizens. So it is either here nor there.
Let's come back to the studio where before now the DSS, before the presidency came out with a statement, the CSS released their own statement cautioning Nigerians for unnecessary utterances. And that is not surprising given the fact that this government have had some criticism. But then again, you have to wonder, is it an intimidation tactic? Because I don't think this government has been criticized as much as the previous two governments, especially the Olusegun Obasanjo's administration. You know, lot of not just criticism, they were abused. You know, and insults, you know, flying here and there. Even the good luck Jonathan administration. So let's hear what you think of that.
I think, with due respect, I think the statement by the DSS, in my humble opinion, is an intimidation. No matter the information they might claim to have. You cannot muzzle people from expressing their opinion. After all, this is not a military regime. We are in a democracy that guarantees freedom of expression, particularly within the limits of the law. So to begin to tell people to mind their utterances, I think it's just an intimidation. It's intimidatory. I don't think it is a proper language to use in a democracy. Yes.
But do you think they've been criticized enough?
I don't even think they've been criticized enough. You see, people are not even talking now because of the man at the helm of affairs whose background and antecedent is anti-democratic. People are so cautious. So taking into account the way people criticize previous governments, from that of Obasanjo to that of Yar'Adua, even to that of Jonathan, I would say and submit with all due respect that this government has not even been criticized. They've not been criticized enough compared to how people criticize previous governments. So I think this is just an attempt to muzzle people, in my humble opinion.
What do you think?
Yeah, I think I align strongly with my analysis. You know, so two things you have to look at is performance of government and level of criticism. Everyone would agree that previous government, even though it had its own lapses, things were not this bad to a number of people. And so you're looking at their level, which service the number of criticism they had. Despite that, you see that it was much more. And it was not just criticism, you see cartoonists drawing different types of things, and then people were expressing themselves and laughing over it, and things were moving on. But we see, based on, like I say, so those in the age of our parents who had witnessed the government president under the military regime, will be like, don't dare do that. And then the people that won't try to speak up, you see people being arrested by the DSS with questions.
Even the Jonathan government became like a huge joke among comedians.
Yeah, and everybody was able to just laugh at the family. And we say even now, criticism is not even as much because everybody's like, we've spoken enough. Everybody's looking for how can we just move on despite it. And then so you see, you don't have like, let me get my generator or my solar system, and then I'm fine and I'm moving on. There is no water. Let me get my. So everybody just like moving on and saying. So they're not even criticizing as they should. The people are not demanding for their rights as they should, and it's still the only opportunity they have is to express themselves. And governments of the past have done the right thing by allowing people to express themselves, because the more people express themselves, the better people are able to cope with situations. When people are bottling up and they're not expressing themselves, it is very easy for a bomb to an opera to
that is dangerous,
because they'll be keeping in those sentiments, and then when the opportunity comes to express themselves, it will be a bust.
If we even allow people to go on the ground and do the plot,
exactly. So it's better to allow people to express themselves, let people talk about the issue, and then have better ways to cope with it than muzzling people into silence, and then that would now make those expressions to be bottled up, and by the time it bursts to something that the government will not be able to handle. That's one thing that is
okay. But Suchemi, over to you. Do you think this government has been criticized enough?
I think people have a right to hold opinion. People are at liberty to express their views about how government is being run. So if people have come forward to, in your language, criticize this government by drawing their attention to the ills that is bedeviling this country, I don't think that it can ever be enough. It can never be overemphasized. It is a constitutional guaranteed right of citizens to engage this government. It's an engagement. Yes, everybody must not be with the government. That is why you have opposition. But we are not even talking about opposition. We are talking about individuals. Recently, some religious leaders and groups have come forward to, criticize government policies, and they call the attention of the president to the lingering security crisis in Nigeria. That is not a criticism, as far as I'm concerned. It is an honest opinion which a reasonable government should take on and think through and see how they can improve on the welfare and the security system in this country. So there can never be anything like overemphasizing criticism. It can never be enough. Citizens must continue to engage, and that is part of the citizens' responsibility. This is a civic responsibility. You don't just vote leaders and go to sleep and wait for another 4 years. Otherwise, we continue to have the same set of leaders. We must hold them accountable. People are the ones that voted them into power, and if they are not doing what people expect them to do, they have every right to call them to order. That is what citizens are doing. That, in my view, is not criticism, because criticisms is when you know that government is doing the proper thing and you are just picking on them. But this is in the public galore. Everybody, even the blind, could see that Nigeria is at the edge of explosion. We are sitting on a time bomb. We are at the epicenter of war. If care is not taken, there may not be Nigeria in 2023 that politicians are ganging up. So we must get it right. That is what citizens are asking. It is accountability. And I don't think it can never be enough.
National conference in question. The Goodluck Jonathan administration, we had a national conference where money was spent. A lot of Nigerians gathered to make sure this country remains unified, and yet nothing came out of that conference. Do you think this government, owing to what's been going on, do you think we need another conference or revisit the previous one?
Thank you very much. This very government have said it repeatedly that they are not in agreement with convening any national conference. They said they have no business with that. They won't convene any, and they will not work with that of Jonathan. I think it was 2014?
Yeah.
2014 National Conference, where all Nigerians were represented, all Nigerians of all walks of life. So to them, they are not prepared for that. So anybody talking about conference will not get their support.
But with what's going on right now, do you think they should have a rethink?
Well, they are wearing the shoes. They know what they want. They won an election.
No, actually, we are the one wearing the shoes.
No, the government is wearing the shoes because they are in power. The shoes, I mean, is the power.
Okay.
Yes, they are in control of the power.
But the people are the ones
They're the
feeling
bodies.
it the more.
Yes. So they are not
because the insecurity problem we're having, it's not meeting them. It is the masses that are suffering. The hardship, the inflation. I don't want to use the word inflation now, but everything is very, very expensive right now. I mean, the dollar to the naira the gap keep growing bigger and bigger by the day.
Okay, yeah, you were looking at the shoe being the power. And the people command the power. And so, but
that is not exactly in the Nigerian case.
But what I think is there should be a feedback system for the government. And that's one key thing that is missing. Yeah, so enough of them hearing only from the boys at the grass level who only tell you what you want to hear. But there should be a system where they are hearing honest feedback from the people. And so if that system is not in place, we are still going to have issues. Yeah. So a national conference would have been ideal, but getting a national conference of the of all walks of life is very difficult. Because even a national conference, how many issues of what's the representative of youth, what percentage of people that were there, and there's someone saying of people that were at the conference with in Nigeria, and so there will always be issues. But there should be a system whereby people can give honest feedback as to what is happening, and a system whereby people can be able to have that dialogue or have their opinions heard in the system. That's what we need here. So yeah, a national conference would have been good, but if not, I just would be a platform or a way where and people are sure that those opinions will be heard and worked upon. Because there is a lot of opinions, like on paper we have a lot of ideas. People have ideas to submit and all that, but it's almost not implemented at all. And so there will always be those issues. So even if you have national conference, no matter the conference you have, what concept of the conference is most important. Like you said, money was expended on it and nothing was done with it. If you even hold another conference, is what is done with it that matters.
So irrespective of what happened in the last national conference, where it's practically in the West Bay, do you think we need a national conference again with what's going on?
What we need is...
Or you're just one of those indifferents?
No, not indifference. It can even be as little as a telecast, where people can call in from time to time to hear opinions. Most important thing that lets people know, okay, what is happening, what can we do, how can we move? Let us hear what are people feeling. That's what is most important. So it doesn't have to be a conference in a place as it is. It can be a way for people to express their opinions on what is happening and how we can move out of it. That is what matters. But the conference will be political. People will come and say what people want to hear, and everybody goes on. But what are the pains of the average Nigerian head? Do people know what the woman selling pepper in Ketu is facing, or the young man who with his cattle in Kaduna is facing? Those are what we need, and not just people coming in their agbadas and just speaking English and going back.
I saw you shaking your head when you mentioned national conference, which means you're not in agreement with the national conference.
You see, a national conference, like you earlier said, we just had one during the time of President Jonathan, 2014. The documents are there. It costs a lot of money, it costs a lot of energy, strength, everything. That one is in the shelf. That was in the shelves now, gathering dust. Do you think that another national conference
will make any difference?
And I don't think so. And that's the thinking of this government. They are not interested in national conference for now. So I think we just better abandon it.
But there should be a mechanism for feedback.
Okay.
Let them know what people are facing and how they can address those issues. That's what is important. Like I said, the conference should just be men wearing their agbadas and speaking English. But would that affect the average Nigerian on the street?
In your view, there should be a national conference, but it re-strategized.
Yeah, it may not be called national conference because that name seems to cause issues.
People don't like the national conference.
It should be a system where there can be feedback from the people to know what people want. Again, and like I said, one of the major issues that they seem to have is the fact that people are questioning should Nigeria continue to remain as a nation. And so the fear of that question being asked in some forum is what is causing these issues. But until we confront those things and address them, that's when we can move on. But if we keep on shying away from addressing those issues, we'll keep on having this problem.
Okay, let's go to Barrister Chime. What do you think? National conference, no national conference? What's your take?
For me, it's a capital no. We had the national conference of 2014, which substantially addressed the challenges and concerns from different regions across Nigeria. There were ample of recommendations that were made, and I know up until now, those recommendations have not been implemented. So why are we quick at having national conference? Every government that comes in will have a national conference. It's not a jamboree. The idea of this national conference is to, be able to streamline the ethnic issues and national issues confronting Nigeria and how Nigeria should remain one. These issues have been properly and substantially raised, addressed, recommendations made. So the question the ball should pass to the government to ensure the implementation of those recommendations that have been made. We should be talking about implementations, not calling on national conference every time or every year and there. All these issues have substantially been addressed. The problem we have is that this government, with greatest respect, seem not to be engaging its citizens. They appear to be a demigod that commands the citizens. Now, whatever they say from up there, everybody must align, irrespective of whether it was rightly done or not. But we are saying that the problem of Nigeria has gone beyond political divides. It has gone beyond ethnicity. It has gone beyond tribes and tongues. It has gone beyond religion. But I must say this with greatest sense of responsibility, that this government has divided Nigeria more than any other government in the history of this country. And we have been shouting, Nigerians have been talking about that the national character, the way the Constitution has structured the appointment of executive appointees in such a way that every tribe must be represented. But this government has consistently been flouting that constitutional provision. They have remained adamant. And the problem will continue as much as some sections of this country seem disconnected from the generality of Nigerians. We must run an inclusive government where everybody, irrespective of where you come from, must identify as Nigerian. Some people should not be made to be more Nigerian than others. This is one of the major issues in Nigeria as of today. And that is what is causing this crisis here and there. Everybody is agitating for one thing or the other. The problem is not about recommending or having another national conference. It's whether this government would actually implement whatever recommendation that will come out of it. So for me, it is a waste of time, it is a waste of resources, it's a waste of energy for anybody to begin to talk about conveying another national conference when the chunk of recommendations made in 2014 has not been implemented. That is my position.